Okay. Welcome wherever you are, whenever you are in the world to inspire, innovate, and ignite, hosted by sacredyou.love. And this is where we bring together unique ideas, expert panelists, and new ways to explore how we see our lives. So our panelists, as I just mentioned, are experts in their fields. And I am so excited that we have Denise Blackney, Rainbow Casey, Gary Wohlman, and myself. I count myself as a little bit of an expert too. And I'm Sue Rumack. And where they're going to be bringing fresh perspectives tonight, fresh perspectives to our main topic, which I'm holding out as a secret for just a moment. And perhaps you, as our viewers, will also find some new practices, new ways of looking at this particular topic. It's still a secret. No, it isn't really, because you signed up for it. And perhaps what you'll learn will make a difference in your life as well. So our topic tonight is somatics. And before we go any further, no, I think what we're going to do first is we're going to talk just a tiny little bit about it. In this dynamic panel discussion, we're actually going to be putting a little bit of fun and excitement and playfulness back into finding your own inner health and healing. So let's just take a look at what we've got going on here, okay? Somatics, when not taken scientifically, seriously, is really a chance to put some fun into your quest for well-being. And the meaning of somatics, of the body, meaning not of the brain or spirit. When you think about of the body and you think of the word psychosomatics, we're talking about illness that is only of the body. So what is somatics? And that's what we're going to get into after our brilliant, wonderful panelists introduce themselves. So Denise Blackney, would you jump right in and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, yes, I would love to.
Thank you.
I'm a mother of 5. I've got a beautiful husband, 2 dogs. But I love them dearly, but what I really thrive in life with is actually helping I coach and support people to feel the truth of their existence and heal, to living their true desires in life in everything that they do. And I've been doing that for the last, I always say all my life because I've been quite intuitive, but it's been the last 10, 15 years that I've really stepped back into myself and lived from within and expanding outwardly. So, yeah, so I really enjoy it. And it really ties beautifully into this because where our body is such, where we have our soul, our physical, our emotional, and our spiritual bodies that all exist together. And this is just a beautiful day to be here and actually share how I apply that into my life and my client's life and how everyone can do it in their life as well.
Oh, that is so exciting. I'm so glad that you're going to be sharing that with us. Thank you. And thank you for joining us. You've been on my panels before, and I always enjoy talking to you.
Oh, thank you.
Dr. Gary Wohlman, let's hear from you. Tell us a little bit about you and perhaps a little bit about why somatics interests you.
Absolutely. My whole life has been in motion. I started off this life climbing every possible tree as a monkey, wild, became an acrobat, a champion springboard diver, gymnast, track star. And when I didn't get into medical school, I discovered the field of body therapy, which I've now been practicing. I'll be 72 in a month for over 50 years. I developed a form of working with the body that's so much fun, that stretches the muscles of the body while speaking in rhyme at the same time, like Dr. Seuss, to take people on a very swift vision quest and immediately transforms the way that they communicate with the body, their relationship, their creativity, and their contribution to humanity. So I've developed some very fun ways of helping people disengage from the old stories, often by repeating the past stories and adding a different ending psychodramatically, family constellation-wise, and helping people basically multi-sensorize our self-talk so that how we communicate reaches people on many more levels of meaning. It's totally fun what I do. It's quite outrageously playful. So it's good that you're talking about somatics. As a somatic trauma therapist with my own system, now it's more about helping people connect the mind and the body with the spirit. That's what I stand for and what my devotion is all about.
Well, I think this is going to get to be a very spirited conversation. Thank you for joining us, Gary. And may I call you Gary, or is it Dr. Gary?
Oh, you can call me. I'm at a stage of life that it's multiple choice, all of the above. You can do a combination or make up something new. I'm very playful.
It's going to be Gary then. Thank you, Gary.
That's fine.
Okay. Rainbow Casey, would you like to jump in and tell us a little bit about you and how somatics feeds into what you do?
Yeah, sure. Boy, Gary, that sounds like fun. Anyway, I was the first holistic MD in New York City in 1975. So I have been helping people heal themselves naturally for, gosh, almost 50 years. Actually, coincidentally, I moved to New York to dance. I was fed up with medicine as I was trained. I said, I'm just going to be a dancer. So I went to New York to dance. So I have a lot of history of using my body. I'm a martial artist. And for me, the whole concept of somatics, which I kind of see as connecting the parts of us, or you could say mindfulness around your body. But I don't think that you can really heal without making that connection with your body and with your whole self. You can't do things to your body to heal. You need to make your body a part of your healing process. And so, everything that I do relates to that. I'm also a fasting expert and a longevity expert, and I am just passionate about people getting healthier every day of their life.
Oh, this is going to be a fun panel. I'm really excited now. We have somebody else in our gallery, Andrea J. Andrea, I'm not quite sure whether you are a replacement panelist for somebody who was taken ill suddenly, or whether you are a viewer who's joined through the link.
I'm a guest. Yes.
You are a guest. Wonderful. Well, welcome. And we are thrilled that we're thrilled that you're in the gallery. This is so exciting. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We would love to answer them. If you want to ask your question at some relevant point in time, take yourself off camera and just I'll notice you and say, Andrea, what would you like to say? Okay. I got a thumbs up. Fantastic. Okay. So coming back to our topic, what I found fascinating, the reason I wanted to talk about somatics specifically, is that somatics have been around, as Rainbow has said, and Gary has said, a very long time, and Denise as well. But it was never really highlighted or pinpointed. There were quiet studies going on about it. There were all kinds of things in the background. But somehow in the past 4 or 5 years, somatics has become a very noteworthy, very loud, very present in the media, healing modality used by all levels of therapists and healers. We see it. We see it in all kinds of places. I went into a small little restaurant in Toronto. I live in Toronto. And on the menu was somatic salad. Really? Okay, that's kind of cool. We find somatic exercise equipment. We find somatic foods. We find somatics. It's a buzzword now. And what I would like to do is bring it back to, in this conversation, bring it back to how we use it as a healing modality. So our discussion is not about the science so much as how you, the experts, are using it in playful ways as therapeutic exercises, so that it doesn't become that heavy duty, gotta do it exercise. It's the kind of thing that we love to do and get all excited about doing, and just accidentally fall into and go, oh yeah, that makes me feel better. Got to remember to do that. So that's my very first question that I'm going to ask to each one of you in turn. How do you make somatic exercises fun and playful for yourself? How about Denise? We started with you last time. Let's start with you this time.
Thanks, beautiful. Yes, somatics. I think it's, you know, it's such a broad word in sense, because it covers a lot of things. And like you said about, you know, foods, exercise. So it covers, it's all body. It's all about the body and listening to what our body's doing, what it's saying to us, how it's talking to us, and moving into that. And, you know, it's about the playfulness of what makes me and my body feel good. Is I love to swim, and I love, you know, playing with my grandchildren as well, you know, because there's a lot of body movement in that when you're running around the backyard with them. You know, it doesn't have to be strenuous. It's just what brings you joy, what lights you up. And it's like dance. I love dancing around the lounge room with my husband. You know, I love going out walks with our dog and family. It's a real personal for me, because it's like your body gets to feel all of it. And I don't have to go out and exert myself or do things that I don't want to do, because sometimes we move and shake into things that we think that are going to make us feel better. And everybody's such an individual, and it's different for everybody. So I feel for me that, and I try different things all the time when I feel I want to. I don't feel as though I have to. So, and I think that takes a lot into the movement of body as well, and making you feel good. Sometimes we think that because there's so much out there that we have to follow this regime because everyone else is doing it, like the buzzword. But it's not. It's what I want to try, how I want to try it, how I want to do it.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're saying, as long as you're moving the body in a way that you've chosen to move it, that, and it's repetitive slightly in some way, it is going to have an effect on your nervous system that is going to inform your brain in some way that something different is happening, and it can shift a sensation or a feeling and create a form of healing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to jump to Gary now. Gary, so we're not getting into the science of it yet. We're talking about how you as a therapist make somatic exercises fun and playful for yourself. When you do that, what results are you noticing, and does it change you in some way?
Interesting question there. So your question itself, I'm going to reflect for a moment, because you've asked me as a therapist, what do I do personally, which to me are two separate things. As a therapist, working on myself as a client, or seeing myself as a patient, so to speak, there are things that I do throughout the day, every day, that I've been doing all my life. And some of the exercises that I also share with others, that people here who are listening and watching can easily take on. One of my favorite exercises to do, and I do it every day when I'm in the shower, is I hang my shoulders forward and I shrug my shoulders up and down, and I do what I call the monkey wobble. And I let out sounds like a monkey, letting out silly sounds, but not to be silly, to open up this whole band around the chest and heart, to open up a greater sense of inspiration, physically, emotionally, mentally, creatively, and spiritually, and also that sense of fun and play when I'm having a good time. The wisdoms waffle, warmly, without any hesitation through my consciousness. So the exercise is this. You can do it with me, after me, simply this.
I'm going to do that. Anybody else want to join us?
And, and when I do, yeah, do it.
Okay, everybody want to join in the gallery? Come on. That definitely
is serious fun. The shoulders shake free, and any stucknitudes and stiffnopotami are shrinking out. Okay, so that's one thing I do every day. I just do half a minute. It doesn't take long. It brings me into the zone of total fun. Another thing I like to do, as I mentioned earlier, I was a champion springboard diver, and then after a series of puncturing eardrums and slicing parts of my body open, and spinal surgery, and getting older, I'm now 72. I don't do springboard diving anymore. I don't leap from tall trees into waterfalls anymore. But there's a waterfall. I live in an off-grid permaculture community in a national park, and there's a waterfall, my favorite waterfall. I sit in the waterfall every day, and towards the end of our session today, I'll go into some of the specific exercises I do in the waterfall that are toning and tuning. When I'm in the water, I continue my acrobatics in a very specific, playful, precise, mathematical way. I do a forward somersault, a twist to the right, a backward somersault underwater, a twist to the left, 2 to the right, 2 to the left, 3 to the right, 3 to the left. I lay on my back, and then I do one sound for each of the, I go through 9 chakras, and each sound has a key word, a color, and an intonation with the intention that I practice every single day. I've been doing that every day of my life, and that is so much fun, and it gets me in the zone. There we go.
I can see that you are a very fun person, Gary. So as our viewers are noticing, each one of our experts, we've spoken to 2, brings a different way of using somatics playfully. And each person finds their own level, their own perfect experience in the way that it heals them. So we're going to go to Rainbow now. And Rainbow, after you've heard these 2, what have you got?
I know. Well, you both reminded me how much of a water baby I am. When my pool is open in the summer, I swim a mile a day, and I didn't think of it because my pool has been closed so much this summer. But I also do a lot of twisty things when I swim. Every lap is in a different direction. I'm twisting around, and one of the things I love about, besides for me when I'm in the water, I'm sure I must have been a fish or something, because it's when I feel most myself and most whole. And I also use it as a time to meditate, because I do lots of laps. I'll either meditate, or if I have a decision to make, because I feel like being in my body connects me more with my true self. And so that's one of the ways I will use it in terms of somatics, to connect with myself. Mm-hmm. In terms of playfully, I love to dance, and I have Alexa devices in every room. And I'm afraid to say it out loud because there's one in this room, but I say, hey, play dance music. And I started doing it in the kitchen because I was looking for ways to exercise more. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm in the kitchen, I play dance music, and I don't do a full out dance if I'm chopping, but I use it as a way to just, I love music. And when I listen to music, I do want to move my body. So it allows me to, to multitask in a sense, but it's also connecting me. It's more than just exercise for me. And sometimes when I do it, you can make it fun by just using a different body part. Okay, how do my hands move now? Or how do my shoulders move? But the music allows me to move more. Another thing that I haven't explored as much as I could is allow myself to move as a different animal. And again, I like to do it with music because I relate to music anyway, and it really gets me moving. So that's something that I use really as a fun thing. I also do Qigong, and for me, it's not playful, but it's fun in the sense that there is so much exploring of my body that goes on when I do it. It's like, hello, body, what's going on in there? And so that's another thing I use that also makes me happy.
Wonderful. You know, it's interesting because I've always thought of Qigong as being a very early proponent of somatics, because when you think of how we move one part of our body that stimulates our nervous system, that affects our brain, that releases endorphins, that changes up how we are relating to whatever's going on in our body, that's where the healing comes in. So each one of you has shown us how playfully using our bodies, both using Qigong, using Dr. Gary's wonderful exercises, Denise's playfulness with her family and her husband and her children, all of those build a sense of wellness in us through movement. Okay, so I want to come back now to what somatics is in terms of scientific study. And I know I didn't put this on the list of questions I sent you, but I know you all know the answers. So as a scientific study, somatics goes into how different parts of our body relate and connect to our brain in ways that affect our health. So how we use our bodies, how we program our bodies, can change up how our bodies react to chronic illnesses that are caused by body affected situations. So Denise, do you have anything you'd like to add about that? So looking at somatics from a scientific perspective.
Yeah, I feel that from a scientific perspective is that it's where the energy is stored in the body. So if we have pain in our body, it's energy stored. And it's energy, and we know energy is energy, and energy is connected to everything. So it's about recognizing, okay, I have this pain here, and that's that energy. And so what's that attached to? And usually most of our pain in our body, or I'd say all of our pain and disease in our body, is connected to our emotions. And, you know, and when you say, when we go through the exercises and everything, that starts to alleviate that pain. But the pain doesn't forever go away. It still's there because we haven't sorted through the emotional side of it. So the somatic side of it is that it's the to me, what I know is the emotion that is sitting there within the body. And as a physical body, our body wears everything. So it's a matter of that we can work to move our body and to release that pain, but to totally see it gone is to release the emotional pain.
Okay, thank you.
I know it to be.
Okay. Gary, do you have anything to add to this?
Sure. In developing my Wohlman method for the whole person, my transformational somatic-based body therapy method, I've created it as a scientific method system. And one of the things I focus on when I'm working with stretching the muscles of the body or showing a client online or in person how to do that is the breath. And with the breath, as we know, as we're all breathing right now, the quality and quantity and tonality of the breathing is a metaphor for a person's relationship to exhaling. Watch what happens, everyone. A relationship to letting go of air, letting go of thoughts, letting go of beliefs, stored energy, as you just mentioned. And by lengthening the exhalation There's more of an ability to practice letting go what's no longer needed in the lungs and the mind and the life. And in receiving, let's take a breath in, everyone. No matter how much you breathe in or don't, our relationship to breathing in is our relationship to receiving, or resistance to, believing I'm not good enough, whatever to carry the thoughts, the stored energy, the beliefs, the assumptions that have been there. So in breathing in fully, full inspiration, allowing more the ability to receive fully, and then in exhaling to let go and to follow through rather than to hold tight. So often I have people then practice this affirmation. I am whole and complete.
I'm going to ask you to hold there. I'm sorry, I apologize.
I'm going to finish the sentence.
Go ahead.
The sentence is, I am whole and complete. I take whole and complete breath.
Okay. Thank you. And actually what you brought up is really, really important for everybody to know. Breath work and somatics are linked. They go finger in finger, hand in hand. There are different types of breaths that also affect different types of emotion and different types of release. So breath work, and there is so much. Gary is an expert on breath work, but there are so many breath work practices that go right back to Ayurvedic medicine, from the very beginning of how you use breath work to release emotions and foster wellness in the body. So looking at, we've got breath work, we've got letting go of anxieties, managing your emotions. Rainbow, what else do you have to say about the science of it?
Agree with I've seen some incredible healings take place in the process of doing breath work. And the thing I want to maybe take even to the next step then, and I often say our body shows the history of our entire life, so that everything we've ever been or done shows up in our body. It could show up as scar tissue from an injury, but everything we've ever experienced still lives in there somewhere. So by connecting, as you said, Denise, with the emotions or through the breath work, we can find a place through going through our body to a place of, it might be an emotional scar or a trauma, or even if it's a physical trauma, by going into our body with consciousness, we can allow whatever has become some kind of a scar to be released. And seeing that our body reflects our whole history, sometimes I kind of laugh about it. Okay, well, this is when I broke this bone and or whatever. But there's something about seeing our life history in our body that I feel is rich and rewarding to understand.
Well, what's really unique about what you just said, Rainbow, is that I guess in the past, maybe 5-6 years, registered therapists and psychiatrists are beginning to recognize exactly what you just said, is that there are stored emotional scars within the body, and that if a person can do that piece of emotional therapy, add to it a somatic practice, so you get that felt sense of the emotional scar being released. As it's being released, then the return of PTSD type reaction, response to a trigger, isn't triggered in the same way, and eventually it is reduced to the point where it's really not even there any longer. I think I may be wrong, but I think they call it EMDR therapies, and there's a lot of study going on now, both in the practice of it, which is exactly what Gary is saying, connecting the breath work, connecting to the physicality, to the emotion. And what Rainbow is saying is finding those old scars within the body, the emotional scars and even the physical scars, and then doing the physical exercise combined with the breath work that does release that chronic condition. And patients are seeing real results with it. So it isn't just that playful aspect. It's more, it is science-based as well, and brain-based. Rainbow, I saw you. Sorry, Denise. Thank you, Rainbow. That was perfect. I see Denise shaking, nodding. Yes, yes, yes. What would you like to add?
Oh, no, I'm just in total agreement with it all. And it is, how we express, and we express through the body, we express outwardly through our vocals, all matters to how our body, and healing the body and the emotions and the energy that is stored within the body. It's the best way to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been following a lot of the various practitioners online just to see what they're offering. And there are exercises as simple as shifting your eyes way up to the left, or rather the right, and then holding there for three or four short breaths, and then going up to the other side, doing the same. And you're doing that in rotation several times, and along with the breathing. And then you pause, you close your eyes, and surprisingly, whatever tenseness you were holding in your body, a specific part of your body, or a feeling of anxiety, is reduced. It's released. You do that a few times, and I'm not an expert in it, but I know that I do use it with my clients when they are just reaching that point of, I'm beginning to resonate, or just beginning to vibrate. And those things are very small. They're tiny, tiny, tiny. But those are things that we can do for ourselves. So I'm going to come back to Gary, because Gary, you said that you had a practice that really seems to be powerful, simple, powerful. And I mean, we've got a little bit of time left in our discussion. And I want to make sure that we have enough time to work with all the other panelists as well. But could you share that practice with us? You've given us so many already.
Simply said, sure. I combine breath, sound, visualization, stretching with rhyme at the same time, which creates a multi-sensory encodement through those 5 modalities of whatever self-talk is being spoken. I'll give you an example. While stretching, you can do this with me. The shoulder away from the neck on the exhalation. This is all done on the exhalation. Breathing in, relax. Stretching further. On the exhalations, whether I'm working on a client or doing this with someone online or face-to-face, the words are on the exhalation. Say it after me. My shoulder drops away.
My shoulder drops away.
Inhale, relax, stretch further the next time. More room for me to trust.
More room for me to trust.
What I feel, think, do, and say.
What I feel, think, do, and say.
Hip, hip, hooray!
Hip, hip, hooray!
That's part of the process. So for me, having that silly-ism at the end, there's a velocity to ridiculosity in my book, in my way of seeing things. So by saying this really serious statement, or singing it, or whispering it, or mouthing it, while the muscles are being stretched on the lengthening of the exhalation, that exact timing is the very thing that brings that new self-talk into a physicality, multi-sensorizing the information. It becomes instantly embedded in the muscle memory, and the person returns to that self-talk from now on as the new default program. That's how it works.
And that's exactly what Somatics is. It's creating that new default program using the visualization, the physicality, the breath, and the voice. Perfect. Gary, that was so much fun and easy. We have 2 guests on our that I can see, Andrea and Ali. Do you have any questions? If you'd like to put them in the chat, or if you'd like to unmute yourself and ask a question, we would love to have your input at this point. No takers yet. Okay. All right. Hold on just one second. So other panelists. We've got Denise, we've got Rainbow. What Gary just shared a really fun experience. What are your thoughts around what Gary is doing from your own experience with your own clients?
Well, what I see that I really like is how much fun you do put into it, and the silliness, if you want to call that. Because healing can be so serious, and I love that you're putting a little bit of kind of frivolous or fun into it. That's inspiring to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We do have a question. Sorry, I'm going to come back to you, Denise. We do have a question from Ali. She asks, what do you recommend for the best strategies to regulate the nervous system? Good question. Anybody like to jump in with that one? Best strategies to regulate the nervous system. And I guess if you're starting from scratch, you'd have to start at the beginning with something simple that could be built up. I could be wrong. Gary, you're muted.
I have a simple practice. I practice throughout the day. That is my very favorite practice. I do it in the waterfall. I do it at moments of transition. And it's as simple as this. It's the 5 vowels. And these 5 vowels directed in a very specific direction, which I'm going to lead you through and guide you through. Just take a minute. Balance my nervous system, calm my mind, clear my senses, and put me in the zone where anything is possible. So I'll simply tell you my favorite exercise in the world. I know this is the last question you wanted to ask, but I thought this would be a good opportunity to answer it. So here we go. Doing it with me, doing it after me, and then I'll explain it. The first sound is the sound of ah for opening the heart chakra. The sound is directed in a horizontal way. First, to let go of anything unlike being in the heart, and then to breathe in fully in that area. Let's do it. It's and to breathe in. The next sound is vertical going up. It's the sound of E. That's opening the throat chakra. Safe for me to share my voice and message with you, freeing your ability to speak and be heard. Like trees reaching up to the sky, whatever desired outcomes you're focusing on. The sound of breathe in. The next sound is I, the I am presence that goes up and down through the spine, directing up like the tree trunk and down like the tree roots. Stand of command in your land. The sound of I. Ready? Breathing in. The sound of O, making a circle with the fingers, putting it down by the belly area for all circular processes of which we are connected. The sound O, breathing that in, filling that area. And finally, the sound of oo, like a didgeridoo, going down through the base of the spine, a spear of fiery, heartfelt intention towards the center of the molten earth for all that you stand for. The sound of and breathing that in. A, E, I, O, U. 5 vowels.
Brilliant.
That balances the nervous system like I know nothing better. I do it all day, throughout the day.
Thank you. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant share. Denise, do you have a practice, your best strategy for regulating the nervous system for Ali?
Yeah, what I share a lot with my clients is just your box breathing. So your 4 breaths in, hold for 4, and you can extend that and then breathe out on 4, hold for 4, and keep repeating that. And that actually brings you back to, I call it homeostasis, just feel it calming the body right down, the nervous system right down. And you can extend that breath because sometimes when we first start out, counting to 4 people holding their breath for that long seems a bit long. So over time, you can extend it to 5 breath box breathing, 6 breath box breathing, 6 count, I should say, and so on and so on. So yeah, that is real quick, because it doesn't matter where you are. You could be on the train, you could be on the bus, you could be in the office. You can just do that box breathing and it'll just settle you down straight away. And then get up, go for a walk, or stand up and just have a drink, and then sit
Brilliant.
back. Yeah.
Actually, I start my clients with a 3 by 3 by 3. Because some of my clients are so stressed at that moment that they're almost hyperventilating. So I take them to the three breath in, and it's a short 3. It's not a long 3, short 3, like 1, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, release, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3. So very short, and then have them repeat that 3 times.
Yeah.
It's only 36 seconds. And by then they're going, oh, thank you. I'm there now.
So true.
Yeah. I'm getting a comment from Andrea as well. Just a second. Rainbow, do you have a practice that you'd like to give, your best practice?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm seeing, of course, is it seems to always be connected to the breath. But I teach it's a Qigong martial arts exercise, which is called Yang Qi, but it's also I call it standing meditation. So I stand in the, natural posture, and I just bring up energy, or the breath, from the center of the earth, from my feet up the inside of my legs to the top of my head, down, and then down out the outside of my legs. So it's bringing energy up, connecting it from the energy that comes from the cosmos, and bringing it back down. And it's a circular breath, bringing it up from the earth and allowing it to come back down. What I do know, because I've done all kinds of meditation, we probably all have, but this one in particular really chills me out. It's like, man, I've just had a Valium, or I've just had a massage. And I think part of it is that by focusing on the breath moving, it does eliminate thinking, because our thoughts are on the breath that we're, and of course, it's also therapeutic energy wise on top of it. But I find that I've taught people, to use it for stage fright, or I used to teach at a college before they would take an exam, because it just completely just chills me out when I do it. But there's one other thing I want to just mention, talking about the nervous system, because I have had for much of my life a history of panic attacks. And sometimes quieting your mind and breathing might not cut it. What I've noticed, get up and move. It just doesn't matter. If you're in that place where your nervous system has caught you and grabbed you, just get up, change your body position, and move. And sometimes, when you need it, that works too.
Funny, I've told some of my clients who also have panic attacks that if the calming exercises and the breathing exercises don't get them able to get their body back, the body nervousness back in control, put on some really playful, childlike music and just dance like crazy until you've danced it all out. And you don't have to be a great dancer. And my clients are telling me that plus the breathing gets them back to the place where they can then start to do the more serious work. I love the way all three of you have tied together some wonderful practices to answer Allie's question, which is, how do we regulate the nervous system? Now, Andrea has asked, we've got almost 15 minutes left. So we're going to make this fairly short, so you guys have a chance to tell people what you do and what you're offering them as a gift. Andrea is saying that she's become curious about somatics after hearing a few people share that it's made massive difference for them. Absolutely, yes. And they are telling you the truth, Andrea. She'd love to know what in somatics, and this is a big question, and we're going to keep our answers as short as we can. what in somatics can help people to release stored emotion, especially under numbness, and to improve memory, if any? Well, we've got two different questions and possibly two different practices here. Who would like to take releasing stored emotion under numbness? And who'd like to take improving memory? Denise, let's start.
Yep.
Denise, we'll start with you.
Yeah. This is what I love doing, is helping people that stored emotion to release. So it's about finding the really core of that emotion and where it comes from, and tapping into that. And it's not about the event, it's actually about the emotion that I never had the opportunity to feel. So in the way of somatics, if there's anger that's stored there, it's about feeling that anger and going out and raging. It's not directed at anybody. It's just feeling that rage and letting that rage surface and be expressed. Everything is about expression. And then walking through the grief of it, get to the total release of it. And and then going into the pleasure and the playfulness of now getting to create whatever I want to create, because I've released all of that that's stopped me from improving my life or improving my day, because it all comes back from a stored emotion. So, yeah.
So we're looking at a stored emotion. We're looking at facing it, making sense of it, doing something to change it, and then finding the pleasure in having made the change.
Yeah, it's like walking
celebrating it,
the anger and really feeling that and expressing that, and then walking out of that into the pleasure, that I can leave that actually behind and then get into that playfulness of creation.
At which state in a stage in a person's stuckness in this particular aspect of somatics, at which point do you think a person can manage this on their own? And when would you recommend that they get professional help, like a coach or a therapist or a whomever?
Yeah, finding the core of it, because there's such a thread in life. What we're acting out here is actually started over here. So it's actually following that thread to find that core. And that's what I strategize in, and that's what my profession is and what I love doing. And I can connect into that straight away. And it needs to be taught. Like, we have that intuition, but it's like giving people the tools to be able to do that. We can do it from where I am here now and feel that rage or that emotion that's keeping me numb, but it's not going to change it until I get to the core of that.
So do you feel that at some point a person can do up to a certain point? A person can do it themselves?
Yes.
Or at what point, this is the important part for people who are watching to understand, at what point is it recommended that they stop trying to self-medicate and get professional help?
Right away. If they are aware and conscious of what's happening and they can't get past where they are, this is the time to say, hey, I need somebody to take me through that and teach me that so I can do it myself.
Thank you. Perfect answer. Excellent answer. Gary, let's come to you. Which one would you like to take? We're talking about the stored.
I'll do both as one. What I'd like to do in this situation, whether a person's doing that on their own or I'm guiding them online or face-to-face, is the following exercise. Just like you said, Denise, I asked the person to recall when in their past the numbness or the frozenness or not being able to speak up has taken place, and person will remember something. It doesn't have to be the right thing, it can be anything. And then I have them address that person, mother, father, sister, brother, lover, teacher, and say, ever since that happened, when you pushed me down, I've been afraid to speak up. And this is when the emotion from the numbness starts to come out. The tears often come out at that point underneath the rage. And then I have them take a stand. And this is where the anger is used in a directive and powerful way. And I say to them, say these words out loud after me. I take this pain. We can do this all together as though I'm in a chalice. I take this pain, this program, this pattern that I've developed, of holding back, of feeling numb, feeling suppressed, and I send it, not to you, but to the source. I send it back to where it came. And spin around. My new self-talk is, that's simply all coming back to where it came. My new self-talk is, it's safe for me to speak up. It's safe for me to share my energy, my emotion, my caring, my gladness. And so that process, again, multi-sensorizing their new self-talk, that simple process works amazingly well. From numbness, speaking to the people that oppress them, taking a stand, after the tears come out, send it back to the source where it came, and the new self-talk. It's a very simple process. People can do it on their own, and it's easy for me to guide people through that on face-to-face as well. It's a very simple process.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Rainbow, do you have anything to add that might help to improve Andrea's memory? We both talked about numbness.
I was stuck on the numbness idea.
Everybody does get stuck there, but memory is such an important part of our somatic experiences, our body experiences.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of went there because as a medical doctor, it sounds like we're talking about like emotional numbness, and I went right for physical numbness, and I was, kind of going there with, but as far as the brain, I think going back to going back to the beginning of talking about playfulness and fun, I think things that engage us in some way where we have pleasure is a way that we are stimulating our brain. We can obviously, I think everything that we've talked about and everything I do with Qigong and visualization and everything else. But I think, and this might be on another subject, but because I've studied a lot, because I work with aging and longevity, the concept of the brain, I think that at this point, this applies to every single thing that I work with my clients. By far, mindset is number one. So watching our thoughts, our beliefs about ourselves in terms of enhancing our memory. Yes, we can do physical things and we can do Sudoku and stuff, but I think being really watchful of how we talk to ourselves, about how we define ourselves, gives, and this has been proven scientifically, that it can even, counteract Alzheimer's.
Thank you. That's huge too. I'd like to add something for Andrea, if I might. Andrea, somatics is, as we know, a felt sense. It's about feeling our way into where we are in our bodies and in the situations that we're in. And if you're trying to improve memory, sometimes staying in the moment, being present in the moment, looking around at the room that you're in, and just kind of looking at the objects, counting them, paying attention to them, so that when you come back to that thought of, oh yeah, what was in that room? Your memory is going to kick into that. And if you can feel a sense of the things that you're looking at, it's imagination to start with, but it's also that, this feels like that in my hand. I could almost have a taste. It could have a color. It could have a melody. And if you can put some kind of taste, touch, scent, smell, texture to an object or to a memory itself, a memory of a child that you love is a sweet memory. And as you think about that memory, you give it a sweet taste, you give it a melody that goes along with it. So you're actually tying some other somatic sense to it. It might make it helpful for you to bring it back into mind. I don't know if these all answer your questions, but they're all, I'm getting prayer hands from Andrea. Okay, Andrea, we've only got a few minutes left for our, thank you. I'm so glad that you found this helpful from all of our experts. I'm going to ask our experts now to take just a very short few minutes, because we spent so much time giving such wonderful advice. We don't have as much time for our advertisements about who we are, what we do. If you can sum it up real quick, your links, I can see your links are in the comments box. They will be in the replay as well online in Facebook, so everybody can find you again. Denise, would you like to quickly just state who you are, what you do, the name of your company or service, and what you would like to give our viewers today?
Yes. Oh, I've just gone.
Yes.
Yeah, I support and coach people to know the truth of their existence and feel and heal, to live their and thrive in their life. And I actually teach who I work with everything that I know. So I actually like working myself out of working with people, because I believe everyone in this world should know, and this be a part of their being, is how to heal themselves, how to know how to move in life, how their bodies work, everything, because everything is connected. And go onto my website. I do one-on-one. I'm actually starting up a online, sort of like this, but teaching people how to heal themselves, because I want everyone to have this. So so go onto my website, and I've got another website. I'll let Sophia know about that and get that one up there as well. So
Wonderful.
I've loved this, and everything's energy. Feel into everything. Our body wears everything. Our body has a story to tell.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And we've enjoyed having you here. You're an absolute joy. Gary, a little tiny bit about yourself and what it is that you're offering our viewers today. And I know you can just briefly mention the website if you'd like to. Your offer, your website, who you are, what you do.
As a somatic trauma therapist, presentation coach, and awakening creativity artist, my focus and superpower is to assist fellow humans, mostly online these days, to speak with our full body, authenticity, and physical, emotional presence. Also, to have that quality of clearing the self-talk, to multi-sensorize the self-talk, so your relationships are totally transformed. I do that online. What my offer would be to anyone here to have a complimentary 20-minute session with me to guide you through exactly what we've been talking about here today. My website, https://drgary.club, is my new website. I haven't told Sophia that yet, and that's got everything in one place.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Make sure that you get that information to her so she can put that into the comments later on.
We'll do that as well. Yep, thank you. I also have a YouTube channel that people can see a lot of personal breakthroughs by subscribing to that. I'm quite sure that's in there as well. Such a joy to be able to assist people in this way.
Well, it's been a joy having you. You've just brought so much fun and light and exercises. I enjoyed every minute. Thank you, Gary. Rainbow, tell us a teeny bit about yourself and how people can find you, what you're offering today.
Yeah, a couple of things I'm really focusing on right now. I've been working with longevity for a long time, but I'm helping women to shrink fibroids naturally, because I've worked with so many women who have suffered and had surgery unnecessarily. So one of the focuses I'm doing is working on women with fibroid tumors to shrink them naturally. The other thing is I am a fasting expert. I've been supervising fasts for 50 years, 48 years maybe. And I'm going to be starting a New Year's cleanse detox group, a fasting group, and they are so much fun. And I've watched people make some really wonderful changes. So if you might be interested in any of this, I'm not using my website as much. It's probably better if you just find me on Facebook under Rainbow Casey. And I am very happy to have a one-on-one complimentary discovery call with anybody.
She's actually dropped out. I don't know what's happened to her. So, it's been such a fabulous day sharing this with everybody for the hour, and just some beautiful, beautiful things that have come out for everyone to take on board and start their journey, or in the midst of their journey into their healing, and with somatics and bringing that into how they're living as well. So I'll hand it over to you now, Sophia. I see you come on. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Yes, and unfortunately we've lost our wonderful facilitator, Sue, and hopefully she will be back. The wonders of technology, even in today's world and things like that. But I'm just been sitting here in the background, putting everyone's links in. Just want to give a big shout out to Maymuna, who's also been helping me too, and listening to all your wonderful experiences and techniques on how we can, have some fun in our lives and get that movement back. I'm sure I'm not the only one here that if I'm not careful, I can be stuck into this chair for 14 hours a day without moving. So I love all these exercises I've been sitting them doing in the background, and Miss Magnificent, who's coming in again, otherwise known as Sue Rumack, our wonderful facilitator, has come back, and I think together with Sue, we'll be doing a lot of movement within Sacred You. So I just want to thank you. Thank you ever so much. Thank you, Rainbow. Thank you, Gary, Dr. Gary, and Dr. Rainbow, of course, because Rainbow's also a doctor, and Denise for coming in. Thank you, Andrea, for joining us, and Ali, who's had to leave. And for everyone who's watching, do click on the links below and check out these amazing people and all the gifts that they've got to say. So, Miss Magnificent, do you have anything final to say now that you come back and joined us?
I lost my battery, but I'm back.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't have a chance to tell people what I do, who
Yes.
I am, and
tell
what
us
I
about
offer.
your
So
tribe. Yes.
if I could, actually, I'd like not to talk so much about my tribe as to what I do as a life coach, and my tribe as well, of course. So to start with, I am a Sacred You panelist. I'm a host, and I am also a tribe leader. My tribe is called Life Force Activators, and we meet every 2 weeks on Tuesday. What? You can't hear me?
No. It's all good. It's all good.
Oh, all right. Okay. We meet every 2 weeks on Tuesdays, Northern Hemisphere, Wednesdays, Southern Hemisphere. In the evenings on Tuesdays, it's 8:30 in the evening now, and because of the time change, and it's 12:30 in Australian time on the Wednesday. So we get all excited about being active and full of life force and vibrancy, and connecting with our minds, our bodies, in such ways that we just ramp up that natural life force that we already have within us. And they're fun, they're light, they're easy, they're spirit infused, and they're spirit led. So that is Life Force Activators. In my other hat in the world is that I am a life coach. I've been a life coach for 16 years plus. And thank you. And I specialize in working with professional women who are verging on burnout, mainly because they're very highly sensitive people, but they're also highly successful, very organized and focused people, but they feel the world so intensely. So I have processes and practices that lead them through not just the somatics of it, but also the a little bit of the life coaching aspect of it. We marry the two, and they come up with a practice and that leads them through anything that keeps them stuck. My website is in the comments. You can find me there. And what I'm offering is a 60 to 90 minute next steps life blueprint session. And we talk about anything and everything, from your work to your family, to your health, to your PTSD, almost burnout, to pending divorce. And we find a blueprint And if it works for you, then we move forward. If not, you can use that anywhere else. So I'd like to thank you so much for listening to me, to the other panelists. I'd love to thank Sophia for making this platform available to all of us through sacredyou.love. And I look forward to the next time we are all together doing a panel of some kind. Sophia, honey,
which is very soon for you soon. We've got Awakening the Soul, Exploring Spiritual Transformation. That is coming up in 3 days' time. Thank you, everyone. Really, really thank you for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Gary and Dr. Rainbow and Denise again and Andrea. I hope you got a lot out of it. You're more than welcome to come on camera if you want to. As we say goodbye to everyone who's watching us online. Take care and thank you.
Thank you. It was wonderful.